here we are back with the continuation of Sage's video. We ran out of room on the last one. We ended last time by ponying her around, getting her quiet and confident with the other horse. And now Rick's going to go ahead and step on her. Now, this will be, I believe, the second or third day that he's gotten on her back. She's actually very nice, but she gets a little bit cranky. So there she looked at him like, what the heck are you doing? Good girl. We always take time to reward our horses and tell them when they do things right. That's what we want them to remember, not the things that they do wrong. Good girl. I also apologize about the lighting. We're going to get this figured out one of these days, but the light just doesn't quite want to work with my video camera. So here she goes. We never sit still on our horses. If you sit still, you are looking at pouncing on them. That's what a cougar would do up in the tree limbs, is he'd sit still until he could pounce. And so when you sit still, you instill a panic in them. If you are relaxed and just looking around and talking with your hands and goofing around, they're fine. But they still have to be taught for that. And so we've sacked her out and all that. And so now Rick does a lot of flailing with his arms, and he does a lot of rubbing her with his feet and stuff, just getting her used to handling the pressure. The other horse gives her the security that she needs to realize it's okay to have a predator on her back. I also apologize. I'm having a heck of a time with my speaker system here, so if you can't hear me, I am sorry for that. We're going to someday get that fixed too. Anyhow, we've already taught Sage how to handle all the different things that the saddle horse is going to do. So when he starts to trot, then she already knows her cues, and then Rick will also tell her what she should do. And she'll willingly go with him. She's actually a very comfortable little mare to ride. And again, she's had about 8 weeks of handling from being wild to being rideable. And she's going to make a fabulous horse. She's got a comfy little lope. She can be a little stiff at giving, but being ponied really helps quite a bit. And one of the things that she learned that she couldn't go the way she wanted to, even if she wanted to, because there was a horse on the other end of her rope. There you can see Rick continuing to flail around, and he'll move constantly, tell her she's good, reward her for doing the right things. Good girl. And then she will pony off of both sides. We find that in the mountains sometimes this comes in handy if your horse is not afraid of coming up on either side of you. But once we get her turned around here, she's kind of stuck because she says, but I'm supposed to be on the other side. But I just kind of pull on her. She goes, oh, this side. Got it. Okay, now we're on track now. We actually laugh about the fact that some of our horses do really, really good as long as you're moving around and bouncing around and having a good time. And as soon as you sit still going, oh, I don't know if they like me up here, they start to panic. They don't mind as long as you're bouncing around. But Sage is just, she's quiet. Even after a weekend, a lot of horses don't come back as solid after a weekend off. And Sage comes back better every time. The time off seems to instill even more in her that we're okay, and so that's really cool to have. There's Rick's rubbing her bottom and raking her shoulders with his feet. If you accidentally bump her with your foot, you don't want her to panic. And so again, we try to stack them out as much as we can so that they won't panic over something like that. And ask her to go again both ways. Using a pony horse just gives them somebody to have security in. And pretty soon here we'll turn Rick loose on her. Now this will be the first time that he's been turned loose with her. She does wear a bit, but she's not quite used to the pull of it yet, so we're going to stay with the halter today. There she is. Now, she's not used to doing something without the pony horse, so Rick asked her to turn here, and she's not quite sure what she should do or where she should go because there's not a pony horse there for her. And I'll just kind of wander around on Lakota, giving her security that he's there, but not making her rely on him 100%. It can get a little tricky and a little confusing for your young horse to know exactly what they're supposed to do. So the whole goal is to take the time until she understands what she's supposed to do. You can see and you can watch as Rick just walks her around, works on turning her, And then one of the things that we do too is we start tossing the rope over the top of her head to change sides with it so that we can pull her the opposite direction. Now, because Sage had some issues with her head, and still does a little bit, she wasn't real fond of this. Here Rick goes, he's going to toss it. There she goes. She didn't react bad, but that's the first time that's happened, and she wasn't real sure she liked it. And then when she changed sides, she noticed him. Oh my gosh, how the heck did he get up there? So anyhow, but she's definitely settling down immediately. That's her nature. She gets upset and then she chills out and thinks about it. She's just not one to stay wound up or upset. And anytime you work a green horse, you wonder, when you're going to get them upset enough that they panic or something. And I just haven't seen that with Sage. She's just a real sweet mare. There, we just flipped the rope again. She does get better and better with this, and like you said, we said before, is you just keep doing things and showing her that it's okay. We don't get worried about it. We don't apologize for it. We just tell her that such is life, and your job will entail these things. There she goes. Good girl. And if you ever want to have a rope horse, it'd be nice if they didn't panic if you roped their head. Or had kids that goof off with their bridle reins and end up having them on the wrong side of the horse's neck. So we try to have fun in the things that we do with these horses. That's the whole thing. If we're not having fun, I wouldn't know what we were doing. There she goes. Good girl. That's better. She's starting to be able to walk through that instead of worry about it coming at her. Good girl. And of course, in the beginning, they don't understand kick. All they understand in the beginning is just being chased with whip or something like that. But we start teaching them what cluck means. So we tell them easy, easy for walk, because walk and whoa sound a lot alike. So we'll say easy and ask her to go forward. The other thing is a young green horse doesn't understand a straight line. So you actually have to turn them right and left to get a straight line. There she goes. She actually is handling the dismounting well. Again, she's a little cranky. We would like to have a chiropractor look at her, but just haven't had the time. And she's just now at the point that she's gentle enough to be able to have that done. We did have one look at her a little bit, but she was just too nervous to be able to do too much with her. And here you can see she's coming around with the other horses and being able to go right up to the hitching post. She still thinks everything looks really funny, but she'll come right up to the hitching post and you can tie her. And she's getting better about taking her bridle off, which is quite good because of the fact that she is worried about her ears. There she goes. Good girl. And then we go ahead and tie her up. Just in saddling and unsaddling, we don't sneak things on. Throw it on, pull it off, tell her she's good. And there she is. Now you've got to see your pony, even in the bare naked. And a note to her owner, it won't be long and you'll be seeing her in person, be able to pet her, love on her, and even take her for a ride.